Hello everybody, Walter here. Welcome to episode 15 of my Let's Play series for Satisfactory 1.0. In the previous episode we started producing rocket fuel for power production and also placed already quite a decent number of fuel generators until at least we ran out of motors. So we'll have to come back to this at a later point. Nevertheless, there are a few more things I would like to do around the power plant, so let's quickly jump back into the game and have a look where we left off last time. And here we are, right in front of the one power tower we, managed to mostly finish in the previous episode. And then we have those two here, which we barely started on. But as I was saying, this is something for later. Now, we're going to add a little bit of production down here, using some of the byproducts. And for that, I'm actually going to start with a platform over here, which is going to hold one assembler and one refinery. And that should be big enough for both. I also went ahead and already brought over some sulfur and the compacted coal from the rocket fuel production, as well as some heavy oil residue, and this conveyor here makes its way all the way to over there and merges basically with the other miscellaneous items that are being produced here. Now, let's get started with the production, and the first thing we need is an assembler right in the middle. And I will need to avoid clipping, so yeah, that should work. Then flow hole here and here. And there. And Mod 1 lifts. Then let's see. Just that. This one over there too. Now let's see. Okay, there is a little bit of clipping, but I think I can live with that little bit. Yeah, okay, I can live with that. So that's the inputs. Now for the recipe, this is going to make use of the alternate recipe I unlocked, I think, in the last episode. Fine black powder. Which is more resource efficient than the standard recipe. Then we have next up the production of the smokeless powder with another refinery. Needs to be in the middle there. And then, let's see. Yeah, that looks good. Then we have a conveyor here. And here. We also have a pipe hole. Or pipe floor hole. Right there. Let's add a little bit of color. Then the lifts. And let's just color code this all in the correct colors, so we have a rough idea what this is about. And that is the sulfur. Okay. Looking good already. We are halfway done already, I think. Now for the lifts, let's move that over there and this one in the opposite direction. Then I should be able to add a splitter here. And that should be... yeah, looks good. Then we need to merge that and move that a little bit into the wall so I can connect in line with that one there. Then I have the connection at the back. And this one connection here, I'm actually going to move up just a meter. Let's see. Okay, this is... I hope I can get this. Yeah, looks good so far. And the reason I'm doing this is I need still to move the heavy oil residue through here. Now for that I'm going to need to close this gap here for a moment so I can actually go through the ceiling. Because when I go from the floor I'm too high, but with the ceiling I'm a little bit lower than that, and that should be perfectly for what I need. And that looks pretty good indeed. And that's pretty much all below the ground except for the power. And then, once that is in place, I'm also going to add a little bit of fencing and some lighting, just like in this here. And since this is where we're producing explosives, I decided to go with a more militaristic setup with this fence here, which is a design by Total Eclipse he showed in a recent video tutorial, and then the red pattern on the floor. I've also already set the refinery to smokeless powder at 200%, and I also set or replaced this conveyor with Mark II, since we're producing a little bit too much for a Mark I here. Okay, this is now all running, and next up is a little bit of MAM research, because I already grabbed a decent amount of the smokeless powder, and we now can do some unlocks over here at Sulfur. First, let's start with the cluster Nobilis for that.
Cluster Nobilis unlocked. This type of Nobilis detonates into multiple smaller explosions. Can be used for clearing large areas of vegetation and other inconveniences. Addendum. Inconveniences, in this case, is not defined to include persistent family members, raccoons, student debt, the sunrise, peer performance reviews, neighbors learning to play the saxophone, phone calls, or your favorite show getting cancelled.
That was quite the list. Yeah, okay. Anyway, continuing on with explosive rebar.
Explosive rebar unlocked. Rebar ammo that explodes on impact. Suitable for removal of unwanted obstacles, creatures, or limbs.
What? No list there? Okay. Then we have the rifle.
Rifle and rifle ammo unlocked. A long-range weapon and rapid-fire ammunition. Only to be used for the defense or acquisition of FICSIT property. Conveniently, this includes everything of value on this planet.
That's one way to see it. Okay. And then finally some more inventory slots. That is going to be very useful indeed.
Pocket dimension inflated by utilizing numinous gel hydrology channeled through an etheric spigot. Some used to say this as impossible, but the meaning of that word has long since been removed from my dictionary.
Okay, that was quite the word salad. Yeah, okay. Anyway, let's continue on. So we have some quartz crystal again, so I might as well continue with this power tower here, at least the central spine. And once that is in place, I'm also going to do a little bit of rework over there, since I need some more space for the train station, which I currently plan on putting right next to this lane here. And yeah, this is just in the way. I will have to move this a little bit to the left, and I'm also going to move this conveyor below the floor. And here we go. The core of the last tower is in place. I also managed to finish with the first tower, so we now have a whole 40 gigawatts of power available. Beyond that, I did a little bit of cleanup over here, like adding the struts to support the structure a bit, as well as getting rid of the wire that was going straight over the place here, as well as the power storage. The geothermal generator now directly goes to the power grid, and at some point I'm going to add the power storages back at a different location. Over here I did a little bit of cleanup. For one, I removed the water extractor for the nitric acid. That is now moved over there. I also removed the third of those water extractors here and simply overclocked these here by 50% each. And that should give me enough space for the train station. Beyond that, I prepared a few changes down here. At some point I'm going to get rid of the smart splitters and the awesome sink. Those will be moved into the train station. And for that step I already put down a beginning of a conveyor that's just moving from here then down and to the actual loading mechanisms. This belt here will have to remain in place for now, because my power supply depends on a supply of the iron ore, so yeah, that will have to be removed at a later point. And with that all covered, I think it's time to add the train station. So for that I am going to need first this one here. And that one needs to be moved there. Yep, that looks good. And the interesting part is I can, by just removing these here, have this part of the already existing structure without having to change too much. Although I might want to clean up this part a little bit so I get through here a bit easier. Okay. Now, let's continue on. I need the normal foundations. 3, 4, 5, 6. That is all I am going to need. 1 for the engine and 5 for the various materials I'm going to produce over here. One of which is still coming in the future. Then I need another end station. Like so. And that looks good. So next step is just... Oh, well, first let's actually add in the loaders on the outside. So, as I was saying, the first one over here, that is for the engine. And then I have 5. Wait, that is not where it's supposed to go. That is not what was supposed to happen. So let's add this in again. Then these ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, looks perfectly fine. And the rest is just adding a few curves, which I already prepared for my oil processor. So I have a quarter curve somewhere. Yeah, a quarter curve which I can use. And back there I just make a 180 curve, make my way back on the side here, and then move it together with the one from here in parallel back to the home base. But before I skip ahead, let's also add the actual stations. So I have the train station, that will have to go in this direction. So, and then it needs to be in the middle. And that looks pretty good already. Then we have the freight platform. Although, let's actually start with the empty platform on the other side. So, let's just check. Okay, this is no longer needed there. And that is the wrong way around. You can see those struts coming out of the side. And if you want to fix that, all you need to do is rotate this by 180 and you don't have those struts. Okay, then the freight platforms. And if it doesn't want to place them, just go in the nudging mode and it will be able to be placed. So then the last one. And why is this not? Ah, it's colliding with this one over there. So yeah, now it's time to do all of the connections, moving this one here into this corner here and generally cleaning up the entire train station. And here we go, the train station is now complete, with the sole exception being the splitter below this lift here, since that will be for an item that is in tier 9, and subsequently I can't set this right now. Beyond that, everything here is now properly set up, so the packaged turbo fuel, fuel, smokeless powder and the black powder are all being moved into that train station here. And I already have the beginnings of the path itself. This here is also now rerouted properly below the floor and makes its way all the way to over there. And it looks like I kind of forgot to close off that part there. Okay. I've also added a main power switch here, which basically connects the train station to this power grid here, which will become important in case I run out of power. Because I don't want this here to turn off, and that way I have the last safeguard here with this circuit breaker. Okay, now, one more thing I am going to add over in this corner is power storage. And for that, I'm going to start with just a platform in this area here, and then I'm just going to plaster it completely with those power storages. Like this here. Now, I'm not entirely sure if that is actually enough to handle all of the power draw. I have about, if everything goes to plan, 16 gigawatts of additional power, but as I have already started overclocking quite a lot of these here, I'm not sure if that is actually going to remain as is. So I think I'm just going to be on the safe side and add another 1 or 2 layers on top of this, just to have a little bit more of a safety margin. And I think I should also have enough materials to continue with some of those towers over there. So that should be enough power storage for now. In case I need more, I can just add more layers. I also managed to build one full half of the second tower before I ran out of stuff, which brings me up to 55 gigawatts, which is going to be enough for quite a while. I also set down an assembler down here to produce a little bit of rifle ammo in the meantime, and yep, that's already done for research purposes. So let's finally finish with the Keteron research and the homing rifle ammo.
Homing rifle ammo unlocked. This ammo can be loaded into a normal rifle and, when fired, will seek a target. Clarification. This does not make the rifle a homing rifle. If you leave the rifle alone, even when loaded with this ammo, it will not return home like a devoted and adorable puppy and/or kitten.
Okay. Ada likes puns today, huh? Then we have the turbo rifle ammo. And yeah, that I can't do right now. So I'm done with the research again.
Turbo rifle ammo unlocked. The pioneer ammo of choice when obstacles are numerous and time is short. Panic and imminent death often negatively affect human accuracy, so this ammo meets the human experience with FICSIT efficiency.
In other words, it's the Starship Trooper ammo, basically. So, essentially, it's the safest where you're aiming. Okay. So, now, we are, for the moment, more or less done here. I will come back later to finish with the towers, and also, once we are in Tier 9, add a few more production lines. But, now, it's time to connect the railway to our main base. And with that also the power production from this power plant here. Okay, we have finally arrived at the home base with the railway. I haven't put in a train station yet, since that will come in a future episode. I'm not sure where I'm going to place that yet. But I already connected the power grid. And at the moment, that means we have available, let me check. Yeah, 77 gigawatts. That is a lot of power, actually. All in all, I have to say, this was one of the most painful projects in this playthrough here, since basically at the very beginning of this railway I already ran out of the steel beams and had to wait on more being produced. I even went ahead and summer slooped the heck out of the production over there and quadrupled the amount we get per minute, which sped up this here a lot, but nevertheless this took about 2 hours or so. This is, as I said, pretty painful. Anyway, what is next on the agenda? Well, we have enough power, so I think it's time to get rid of the coal power plant. So let's make our way over to there. And here we are. Now, as I already said, this power plant here is no longer needed, so let's get rid of all of this here. And there we go. I have now removed everything except for a single line of power wire, so I can still use my rover pack in this area here. As well as one awesome thing that is currently getting rid of some of the leftover materials. And with all of that and looking at the clock, I think this is a good point to stop with the episode here. And in the next episode we're going to turn this here into our new center for steel products. And that brings us to the official end of this episode here. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share and comment. It really helps with the algorithm. Independent of that, I wish you a nice day. And well, see you.